Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder of SportsNola.com. It's a rare midweek game for the LSU Tigers, and a big one at that. The SEC opener for LSU at Starkville against Mississippi State. Lenny, this is a tough game to play coming off of a Saturday. At the same time, the same thing holds true for Mississippi State. And normally you'd think it would be an advantage to the Bulldogs because they're at home, but they played a much tougher game at Auburn than LSU played against Northwestern State.
Well, no question about it. LSU basically had a scrimmage against Northwestern State, while Mississippi State went down on the wire, ended the game on the 2-inch line, losing to Auburn on Saturday, and clearly a much tougher game. And they did have to travel last Saturday, got back Saturday night, and obviously LSU having to travel on Wednesday to get to Starkville to play this game on Thursday night. It's tough on both teams with a short week, but obviously it's been done before, and you can imagine this will be a very competitive football game Saturday or Thursday night.
LSU is healthy. Mississippi State has some injury issues along its offensive line stemming from the game against Auburn, which clearly could impact them against a very good LSU defense. Now, Mississippi State moved the ball extremely well against what I would say is a bit of a suspect Auburn defense. That said, there'll be a test for the LSU defense.
Well, and it's different than what LSU has seen thus far. Mississippi State is more of a traditional style offense. You mentioned some of those injuries on the offensive line, but they're the type of offensive line that's really going to get after you at the point of attack. They're not going to scheme and look to put guys in space and things like that. Although their quarterback does run the ball very well, it's still a more traditional type of offense.
Well, they're going to have some things that are going to look a lot like Oregon that they run in this game against LSU. That won't hurt the Tigers from that perspective. As for LSU, the Northwestern State game, no letdown at all. They got to look at some young players. Zach Mettenberger looked very good.
Yeah, and that's really what the one thing I think LSU needed to see. I guess it's becoming evident at this point that Les Miles wants to go ahead and try to keep the red shirt on Terrence McGee since we have not seen him. So, that's one guy we thought we might see, but obviously if he can get away with not having to use him as a true freshman, then perhaps he will not do that. But obviously getting Mettenberger game experience, we talked about in this very spot last week, you're one play away from having him be your starting quarterback right now. So you had to get him some of that live game experience.
Randall and Peterson have to be the go-to guys in the passing game for Jared Lee, but playing a team like Northwestern State, LSU was able to establish Odell Beckham and Boone both, and they got the ball, and that gives them some confidence as well moving forward.
Certainly. This is a receiving corps that has had its issues. Obviously, they will go one more game here without Russell Shepard. He will be back for the West Virginia game in 10 days, and that will certainly make a difference. It's like getting a guy back from injury. It's a 3-game suspension. He's going to be a healthy guy, but he will be back for the next one. I'll have to do without him again Thursday night.
I know some people would find this strange, but there are some that feel like Mississippi State may have overlooked Auburn a little bit because they pointed to this LSU game and have been for quite some time. I know that sounds kind of strange. I don't think they were overlooking Auburn, but I do know that they were highly anticipating this visit by LSU to Starkville.
A couple of strange things about that. You talk about that, and probably it's got a lot to do with Thursday night, but as of a day or two ago, this game was not sold out. They still had a couple of hundred tickets remaining for this game. LSU did not sell its full allotment. Obviously, Mississippi State did not sell its entire allotment, that they keep some back that are not season ticket based. And that's just remarkable to me. I understand the Thursday night concept. It's hard. It's not a weekend thing. The other stat that blows me away in this game is the long history of this series, going back well over 100 years. This is the first time in the history of the series that both teams come into the game ranked in the top 25. That gives you an idea of the magnitude of this game.
That's truly remarkable. And State really feels like they should have won the game in Starkville 2 years ago. So that's one of the reasons that they've been pointing to this one at home before a national television audience on Thursday night. Obviously a very important game for LSU and their SEC title hopes, and of course from a national perspective as well, with a game against West Virginia on the road beckoning the following week. Of course, we'll have full coverage for you here at SportsNola.com. Follow our live chat during the game and, of course, our game story afterwards as LSU battles Mississippi State. For Lenny Vangilder, I'm Ken Trahan. Thanks for joining us here on SportsNola.com.